All right, welcome into the Ryan Ripken Show. Happy Thursday, almost Friday. We got a jam-packed show, so I'm going to try to actually get through this quickly because guess what? We got 3 guests joining us today. Not 1, not 2, not 3. Well, no, it is 3. I lied. Woo! Well, I guess if you're going to consider having when Rocco's in here, but Rocco's not here. So this is how my brain is just on a different direction, but I'm sorry. But let's get down to business here. Down to business. The Orioles are in the playoffs. We're going to react to the recent celebrations as they get ready to push towards October. But specifically, it's about perspective for the Baltimore Orioles. And then, yes, we're going to have Cole Irvin joining us at 3:30 to talk a little bit about, obviously, his time with Baltimore, how much he cares about the Birdland community, but also he was an Oakland A. And also can talk with us about baseball, Oakland A's. Tim Kurkjian, friend of the show, is going to join us after him. And then as we get closer to wrapping up everything, Nick Moore, Baltimore Ravens long snapper and future Pro Bowler, is going to join us at the tail end. So we got a lot. This baseball-football crossover is no joke. But what I am serious about is who is in studio with us today. We got Zach Bollinger to my right.
Yep, all not 3. Wait, actually 3 people in here. Sorry, counting's not the easiest thing for this group.
It's not today. And then the man, the myth, Brad behind the.
What's up, fellas?
How we doing?
Good, hanging in there. I'm pumped for this weekend, bro. The Bills coming to town
Sunday night. We're blackout. Where else would you rather be?
Where else would you rather be? How can you not be romantic about Baltimore sports? Am I right? And for a reminder here, hit that like and subscribe button. And on Sunday, we will have a pregame show going, and we might have our first action boots on the ground for the Ryan Ripken Show. But that will be just leading up to the game. You guys will get the notification. And also, this is going out on Spotify and Apple for anyone that wants to find us there for podcasts. All right, guys, we are on the time crunch. We're going to start off with the baseball news. The Baltimore Orioles, I'm glad they didn't cancel the season, guys.
Yeah,
I'm glad that we didn't say, it's over. And quite frankly, there were some people that said that this team didn't deserve to make the playoffs. They should give up. And quickly, how that can change. And for those that know, the Baltimore Orioles clinched and punched their playoff ticket in the first game of the series against the Yankees. And right now, they're on the cusp of locking down that first AL wildcard spot, which would mean a home series in Baltimore. The division's not out of grabs, just yet. The Yankees just need to win one game, and the Orioles have to win out. So the odds there aren't in the O's favor.
Yeah, I just don't want them to do it today.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
that's fair
just
enough.
Don't let them do it today.
Yeah,
but
let them wait one more day.
Yeah,
and something we talked about right before got on, and I think it's so funny is just the vibe change around the Baltimore Orioles from just a week and a half ago to now. We had people giving up on the season. It was over. There was nothing left to play for. Suddenly, what we've been talking about for 2 months, get healthy, get in, get hot, see what happens. They've gotten healthy. They've now gotten in. It's on. I'm telling you, things are starting to click. You can see the at-bats. You see the quality of the at-bat improve every single time, every single game. They have more quality at-bats. Pitching's still doing its thing. You get Danny Coulomb, Jacob Webb back in that bullpen. Gregory Soto is starting to find his groove. He's hot right now. The boys are playing how you want them to be going into October.
And I think that's my point. Look, when I put out on social media, I think people get it confused with, Ryan, you're not being critical enough. Oh, you're being a homer. No, I just try to be realistic, what I think the team is thinking and what they're going through. And why do I say that? Because I've been kicked in the teeth playing baseball. I have felt like things were falling around me, and constantly you're thinking about, can you get out of it? And I want to show 2 clips here. Let's start with the first one with Brandon Hyde, because Brandon Hyde's taken a lot of heat and a lot of things. And I'm not saying you have to agree with every call, but look at the emotion on Brandon Hyde's face as he addressed the team before they were popping bottles in New York.
We talked a few days ago about 28 guys every single night. I'm so proud of this group. We have dealt with so much crap the last 3 months, and you guys continue to fight. We got in, so let's get it on. We got 5 more games to go to improve, and then it's the playoffs. Let's go!
Lost the locker room.
Lost the locker room. And see, this is my point here. You don't have to agree with every decision Brandon Hyde makes. I don't. I will make those opinions of mine clear, but there's a difference in reality versus perception. Perception was that Brandon Hyde lost the Baltimore Orioles locker room, that this team had no fight anymore. Well, part of that is the frustrations of the injuries, and you're trying to get it right, but it's just not clicking. You found ways to lose, not to win. But what people lost is the reality. The team did fight. They kept trying to get afloat and try to get who they needed to get back at the right time. Brandon Hyde now has brought the Orioles to the postseason for consecutive seasons. It's the first time Baltimore has gone to the postseason in back-to-back years in 27 years. 27 years. The Orioles have been to the postseason 7 times in the last 41 years. So that is my point. I get fired up about this, Brad, because winning is so damn hard. And I'm happy that Brandon Hyde can have that moment. One more thing. Ryan O'Hearn was hearing also the chatter out there. Specifically, he's heard the chatter on Twitter. Why don't we play that clip? Because I don't think Ryan O'Hearn, everyone understood. No one can misinterpret what he was saying. Let's play that.
That just shows that Twitter is not a reflection of how people actually feel. Maybe.
Can we say that one more time, please, into the camera?
I deleted Twitter 2 months ago. No, I just haven't been on it. But, we believe in ourselves, and we have a really good group of guys. And, it's a long season. Excuse my language, but shit happens. And, guys get hurt. Guys slump. It's part of it. But, we got 5 games left. We're in the postseason. Anything can happen when the postseason starts. It's all about that momentum. We have a really good group of guys, talented group of guys that are hungry. We want to win. And, yeah.
Speaking of shit happening. He's also a known folder. Well, just wanted to put that out there.
And that's what everyone wanted to know. That's how he uses his TP.
That's right.
When he goes to the bathroom there. So, dude wipes, if you want to send us some.
Don't ball them up. Got to fold them. Actually, he said it was reckless to ball up your toilet paper. His words, not mine.
He did. It was an end quote for Ryan O'Hearn, but also end quote here with Ryan O'Hearn. It's not what it seems. I think this is a good reminder. This is not just a baseball thing, by the way. You know how you should react, right? You can control what you can control. A lot of other people constantly are going to be saying stuff about you. For Baltimore and the Orioles, they felt that. They understood that not a lot of people had a lot of belief in them. They have belief in themselves. They don't know if they're going to go on a run to the World Series. But I'll tell you what, they believe in the group that they had through the good times and the absolute shit ones. And he said it, shit happens. But that's why you continue to fight, you continue to grind. And for anyone out there too, I just would urge hey, don't let other people impact how you can go about your work each and every day. And I don't mean this in a bad way. If the Orioles listened to everything that happened on Twitter, I guarantee you the team wouldn't be in the postseason right now, right? And also, hey, don't let other people then stop you from what you want to accomplish. That's a life thing, by the way. If you are passionate about something, go and do it. You believe that you want to be who you want to be, then be who you want to be. Don't let someone else deter how you think or how you feel. And Ryan O'Hearn, the Baltimore Orioles, they believe they have the right guys in that locker room to persevere and go lead Baltimore to the first World Series since 1983. Will it happen? We'll find out. But you got to get in the dance, and Baltimore is back in the damn dance, guys. I'm so happy. And you know what? The Birds just need to get drunk. They need to drink.
I was going to say, a hungover Orioles team kicked the shit out of the Yankees last night. And I don't care about the Aaron Judge home run at the end of the game. That was a garbage time dinger. But, what was it, 17 hits at the end of that game?
Oh,
17?
Yeah. Everyone in the lineup got a knock.
Yeah.
14 singles.
And that's what you want to see. I mean, that's what we've been waiting for basically all season. You don't have to hit the long ball every time. Just death by 1,000 cuts. Just keep giving me those base hits, man.
And I love how the entire team is using the whole field right now.
Yeah.
Mountcastle coming back. He's using the whole field. McCann yesterday, I think 3 times went opposite field. These guys are at their best. And what makes me feel even better is they interviewed Jordan Westberg, who since being back the 3 games has done nothing but absolutely pick up where he left off. And they asked him about it, and he said, yeah, it's been nice, but I hate that I'm getting into 0-2 counts. He said, I got to stop doing that. So these guys are still feeling rusty, and they're having these at-bats. I think the just the vibes around that team are totally different. People will say, Brent Hyde lost the locker room. You're right, he did, because they had to move half the lockers because guys kept getting injured.
Right.
He did lose the locker room. He kept losing each player every damn game.
Physically losing players.
He physically did lose the locker room. He lost half his locker room, and that's why they were playing poorly.
You get a new locker. You're getting a new locker. In all seriousness, though, the Birds are fighting. And this is all you can ask for. Get to the postseason and see what happens. Actually, the only guy that might have been a little bit too hung out was Zach Eflin. First time in his career, he walked 5 batters.
I was shocked by that.
Well, he was having a good time. You know what, Zach? Got it out of his system. But everyone else, maybe you just need to have some more cerveza, some Presidentes. I saw that mixed in there too. Go have a time, but you're seeing the boys have fun again. If they can carry that into the postseason, oh, baby, that could be something to watch. But Baltimore, can you imagine? You get a chance to watch your team go to the postseason once again and try to live out a dream. And again, I know this math's true, or this equation. You can't go win a World Series if you don't get in the dance. And if you get in the dance over and over again, you got a better chance of going to the World Series than, I don't know, if you say you go once every 15 years, once every 6 years. So be grateful for the moments, and let's see if the Birds can get hot. We'll talk more about this in the future. Hey, and let's sweep the Yanks.
Let's do it.
Let's sweep the Yanks.
Have a day.
And if you're an Oriole fan, you better damn right you believe this Orioles team can go and beat the New York Yankees. People forget. Just because the Orioles were on a skid hasn't been against the New York Yankees.
Nope. No,
they won the season series again for the 2nd straight year.
And it seems as if the Orioles just own the Yankees in New York.
Yeah, they're 8-4 now, I believe, in the last 2 seasons there.
Hum now.
So
yeah,
table for Humana. Let's table our baseball conversations just for about 15 minutes until our next guest comes on. Cole Irvin's going to join us. We're going to be talking some shop, talking baseball, talking Orioles, and talk about his moments with the Oakland A's. So we'll get into that. But before we get into all that, guys, why don't we take a trip to a little bit of football news around Maryland on our Adams Jeep of Maryland here. And you know what? There's a lot more safe driving in here without Kevin.
Yeah. I feel like everyone knows how to drive. We're not getting any. He's just
super tight where you're over top of the steering wheel. You're feeling good. And I'll tell you what, you feel really good if you go to Adams Jeep in Aberdeen. Look, Adams Jeep right down the stadium, or right down the road from the Ironbird Stadium. I guess it's also called Ripken Stadium.
Yeah, it's got your name on it.
Maybe. But I'll tell you what, they got everything you need. Car service, detail service, parts, oil, whatever it is. Oh, and by the way, you go and buy a used Jeep up there and you say the phrase, hey, Chuck and Matt, I love the Ryan Ripken Show, but Rocco sucks. You get a chance with your purchase. You'll get a gas card up to $1,000. $1,000. Check out that math.
It's a lot of gas money.
That's a lot of gas money. And tell them that we sent you. So, guys, let's go around Maryland here for a quick second. I got to give some love before we get into the Ravens here for, a couple reactions. The Maryland Terps got a big game this weekend. And they had I should say every week's big in college football, right? And since Maryland lost that game to Michigan State at home, kind of deflated the fan base. But Maryland bounced back, got a big win on the road at UVA, and you take care of business against Virginia. And now you got to go to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And now the Big Ten play starts again, right? So big game for the Terps. Ty Felton was our dog of the week this week. One of the best wide receivers in all of football. Billy Edwards Jr. should be getting some love. But the biggest thing, Zach, fair to say, it's about executing. And this is a game for the Terps that you can throw everything aside. You can look at the numbers, paper. They should win this game, but it's going to be about executing in order to kind of flip the script for how people view Maryland football.
Yeah, and we talked about this, I think, with Michigan State. That was a game that you felt like the Terps had to win. It was a heartbreaker. You have an opportunity to kick a field goal to go up 10 with under 5 minutes. You miss. Michigan State goes down the field, ties it. You go to overtime and lose at home. Just a heartbreaker. So this is where now you've gotten 2 straight wins after that. You're sitting at 3-1. Indiana 4-0. So it's not going to be the easiest game. You have to go, and you can't overlook any opponent, especially in the Big Ten. Go out there. If the Terps can continue to get this momentum going, they then have a date with Northwestern in their next game. And it's just continuing to build momentum before you start getting into these big games of USC, Oregon, Penn State that they have down the line. You want to have your wins already. You don't want to be having to get wins to get bowl eligible at the end. against an Oregon, against a Penn State, against a USC. So these are big games. Even though it's still early in the season, it's just week 5. Big game for Maryland Terrapins.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana, look, they've done what they need to do.
Yeah.
And Maryland's going to be underdogs going to Indiana. But the point is, winnable game.
Mm-hmm.
Can they go on the road and win? And in the Big Ten, if you have aspirations to change the narrative of University of Maryland football, you go and win road games in the Big Ten. So they got a good test here this weekend. We'll be covering that more going into the next week. Now, guys, let's finish kind of a discussion that happened at the end of the week of the NFL season on Sunday. The post-game live or reaction to plane ride home, that ring a bell? Marlon Lamar had a little Instagram reaction, kind of was getting buzzed throughout social media. Well, actually, Marlon and Lamar both commented on that situation here to kind of give you their thoughts. So why don't we start with Marlon, who on the Punchline podcast with Jack Settleman gave his thoughts on that situation.
Guess I have beef with the quarterback. Never a good situation to be in, really.
We shouldn't even be live right now. Like, we need to get right.
Bleacher Report, ESPN, they're all pushing this agenda that Lamar Jackson is not a fan of you.
I mean, I feel like he's been very vocal about this throughout the years in the media. He wants to win the big one, or he ain't really going to be too happy. I mean, that's a guy that's daggum striving for excellence, and I like it. Lamar's my guy.
But are you Lamar's guy?
Hey.
I like the question at the end, but are you Lamar's guy?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great question.
Big question.
Well, why don't we ask Lamar Jackson? He was asked about it after practice, and he gave his answer.
His Instagram story. The other day, you told him, obviously, look, we got to get right, and you seem to want to shut that conversation down pretty quickly. Why did you react that way?
You know, Marlo gonna be Marlo. I just didn't want the camera on me at the time. You know, because he know this. You know, I'm all about winning, and I like to. I don't want to say winning style, but I just want to. When we're up, I just want to punish people. I just want to get out of there with a dub. You know, clear-minded. You know, just we got things to work on. There's always gonna be things to work on, no matter if you beat a team 40-0, 22-26. You know, or 28-26. But it's like I ain't want the camera on me. Like that's my brother. You know, I know he gonna do what he do, but it's like, man, not right now. I'm a little ticked off like how the game went. That's all.
So when you say you guys got to get right, what does that look like to you?
Just playing Raven football. Putting points on the board. Those guys on the other side of our defense, you know, just stopping people. And it's like, man, the Ravens didn't take their foot off their necks. That's pretty much how I look at games with us.
Lamar. So right there, you know, Lamar saying, you know, Marlo's going to be Marlo. And look, hey, they're friends. He said, called him his brother in there, right? The part here is how they both, I guess, display their emotions after a game. Lamar was still pissed about the game. That's what I took away from it. He was not happy with how the game finished up. He was not happy that it felt like they scratched and clawed to get a victory, and he's all locked into this season. He doesn't want to play any games off the field. All he wants to focus on is the game on the field, but he's very lighthearted about it. It's a non-issue for all this stuff, but I think it just further validates, guys, that Lamar's to the point. And I love that they asked, what do you think we need to do better? It's like, we got to finish.
Yeah.
We got to finish. And isn't that the truth, man? The Baltimore Ravens very well could be 3-0, but because they didn't finish some games, they're sitting at 1-2.
Well, I'll say this. Like, I don't think, like, Lamar doesn't have a beef with Marlon, but I think it's very clear that, you know, they both took very different approaches to how they were celebrating that win.
Yeah.
Lamar just wasn't happy, and for him it was kind of like this isn't a time to fuck around. Yeah. And Marlon's obviously that's just his personality, is just to do that all the time. Mm-hmm. And so I think that you know, probably won't be seeing Lamar Jackson on any IG lives anytime soon, unless it's a blowout win or something that he's actually happy with. Well, and I think this is the most we've ever seen Lamar on IG.
Yeah,
on Marlon's IG to begin with.
Yeah, usually Marlon doesn't even bother Lamar. Like he walks over to Lamar, and Lamar is that's the other thing. Like, I don't know what Marlon was really expecting. I feel like it's the same. Even if they win by like 50, Lamar says like 3 words. He's like, good win, on to next week. Like he's never been so especially after they kind of had that little scare, especially because Lamar never had a chance to really even touch the ball the fourth quarter besides the one drive where they went 3 and out. So you could just tell that was probably not the time to talk to Lamar, but they both handle games differently.
They do. And for the record, by the way, for everyone that's saying, Marlon's not doing enough. Overall, he's had a solid year. If you don't look at that, it's very solid
Very good year.
The problem that has been, and when people are going to complain about the Ravens defense, is more to me looking at as miscommunications. Like we had Q in here breaking down. We'll put up a short of that on our social media. When Dallas went down, it was chunk plays. They didn't get pressure on Dak down the stretch. And then there was wide open spaces where there was miscommunication in the secondary, and where it gets the glaring then result is the Ravens are dead last against the pass in yards per game. Yeah. So I think that's where everything goes to. But speaking of that, how do you get ready for the next game?
Well, hold on. So I did want to mention this too. So there was so far Marlon this year is 10th in solo tackles. That's 120th in the league. No forced fumbles, Mr. Punch. When was the last time that Marlon,
it's been a while since we've seen that punch come through.
Mr. Hawaiian punches. So 0 there, obviously. He has had the one interception, which, was right place, right time. And passes defended is 3rd, which tied for 13th, but that's not bad. But definitely lacking in the tackle department. He's not wrapping guys up. We've seen a lot of missed tackles, so there is some room for improvement. I'm not going to give him a huge pass.
With tackles, it's kind. I would prefer my corner not to have tackles because that means the ball's not going near him.
He's been targeted the most though out of anybody on the team.
Yeah, but I don't think he's given up that many big time.
He hasn't given up a ton of big time plays. I think the bigger part. I think
he's the only wide or corner in the league. It's one other that haven't given up an explosive play this year.
So 2 things with it, and then we can move on because I want to get this one little clip in next.
Yeah.
2 things is that people expect the playmaking ability that Marlon had with punching the ball out, making a play, which there has been less of those plays here over the last few years. That's just a reality. But as far as how he is actually playing, overall, he's been solid. But he even said the Raiders game, he felt it wasn't his best game. He mentioned that. But as a whole, because of his personality and what he does, the combination of that and the combination of it seems like the defense in the fourth quarter has had some issues, and there's been some terrible penalties against the team. But that's where everything's going into. But hey, you got to get ready for this one. There's no excuses, no shenanigans for the Bills coming to town, who just absolutely waxed the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday Night Football. They're 3-0. They are playing with a ton of confidence in a huge game and a statement for Buffalo coming into Baltimore, and for Baltimore to remind everybody that they still can be a team to beat in the AFC. But hey, I love this, guys. 2 big names for the Buffalo Bills. Really, we're praising the Baltimore Ravens as a whole. But let's start with Josh Allen, one of the top quarterbacks, had a lot of high praise for Lamar Jackson.
I think he's an inspiration to a lot of people in this country. The way that he plays the game, the doubters that he had coming out and asking to switch positions early on, and then for him to show the resiliency and the work ethic and the attitude to go forward and win 2 MVPs. Guys around the league, they see that he's really changed the way that I think guys play the game. But make no mistake about it, he can throw the snot out of the football, and got a lot of respect for him, a lot of love for him. Love watching him play because every play is never dead with him. He's got a crazy ability to keep plays alive and make guys miss and then get the ball downfield. So he's a special player.
Does Lamar's story resonate with you, given that you had his down years as well?
Yeah, I think they're similar in their own rights, but they're also different. But the fact is, I don't think anybody thought that, maybe other than people in our buildings, thought that we'd still be playing right now.
So I love the answer by Josh Allen. I also think he's handled himself extremely well for Buffalo, man. The maturity level, and he's embracing this team philosophy for Buffalo. Stephon Diggs shipped out. Everyone's wondering how could they do. They've been spectacular.
Yeah.
Joe
didn't miss a step.
Didn't miss a step, and they almost seem more explosive. They seem more unpredictable because Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, they're mixing in the run game well. Josh Allen's a phenomenal runner as well. But now you don't know who to really defend because he's spreading it out. You got Khalil Shakir making plays, Dalton Kincaid making plays, Keon Coleman had his first touchdown the other night. So
Brandon Cooks is running out of his mind. Not Brandon Cooks. James Cook.
James Cook. Yeah, let James Cook.
Yeah.
He is on fire. And on the other side of it, their defense is gaining some traction here. So Von Miller looks a little bit more like primetime Von Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying he is, but he's definitely built up confidence. But even he said there's a lot of things you got to like about Baltimore's offense, and a lot of those things can be scary.
To the very first game when they played the Kansas City Chiefs in that first drive, it just looked scary. I just say that, just keeping it 100. You know, it just looks scary with the type of offensive line that they have, and they got Derrick Henry back there, and Lamar Jackson always has the threat to take the ball and run it. And I think on that very first drive with the Chiefs, they ran 6 or 7 plays, all runs, and it was straight down the field and into the end zone. And I remember watching the game on TV, and I was like, this is going to be a problem. And it has been. It has been throughout 4 weeks of the season. You know, you can't sit here and say it's not. And that's something that we definitely got to have on the top of the priority. Derrick Henry is his own monster in itself. I trained with Derrick Henry in the offseason at Sanders Fit in Dallas. So I know what type of guy he is. I know what type of special player he is. And Lamar Jackson, everybody knows about Lamar Jackson, league MVP, one of the most dynamic players that ever play in this game. Not just quarterback. You can't even just put him in a box as a quarterback. He's greater than that. One of the most dynamic players to ever play this game, and he can throw the ball too. So both of those guys present, you know, unique challenges. And then you got Zay Flowers. He can take a 2-yard screen to the end zone. You know, they got a succession of tight ends and utility players too. You know, Ricard and Likely and Mark Andrews, when he gets rolling, they have a really tough offense. And
so they're saying all the right things, right? They're not putting any bulletin board material for the Baltimore Ravens, you know? Hey, smart move. I like it.
Very Patriots-like.
Yeah, you know what? We're just a great team. Very, very Patriots-like. But I'll tell you what, this Buffalo team is dangerous.
Yeah.
They have different styles than Baltimore, but I think what the complement or the similarity is that they can have guys on the offensive side that can beat you, that you don't know who could beat you, but you know of the big names. But yeah, they have 2 dynamic quarterbacks, and then they have defenses that can wreak havoc. But right now, Buffalo's defense is wreaking more havoc than Baltimore's. Mm-hmm. Now, it could be the opponents. It could be the challenges that they face. The Ravens have already played the Chiefs. They just went and played Dallas, 2 of the best offenses from last season. But Von Miller, they're going to have their hands full. And I think that that's the point here. But for Baltimore, you got to feel good playing at home. And, I mean, I think we got to ask Nick more about that in a little bit. Is that fair to say? We should ask Nick about how they feel about also the blackout night.
I was going to say, he's got to be excited. He said he looks slim in the all black. So
he does. He did say that.
He's very big on the all black. He said he looks slim. So I bet he's really excited for prime time in the all blacks.
Yeah, he's got to get that signed for the studio here. Yeah. We can get that up here.
Yeah.
And we got to get a photo of him. Also, photo and then the jersey to see if he's really looking slim. We'll dive more into the Ravens-Bills later on. But, guys, we got to get back into baseball because we got a friend of the show, friend of the program, friend of the Birdland community that's going to join us here. He's going to join us via the river on Monday, but sometimes the river wins. The river won on Monday. So, again, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. But why don't we bring on your friend, my friend, Birdland community's friend, Mr. Cole Irvin.
Hey,
there he is.
Hey, guys.
Cole, what's up, man? Happy Thursday.
Yeah, is it Thursday? Golly.
Yeah, it's Groundhog Day.
Can't keep up.
It's Groundhog Day.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. How did fishing go, by the way?
Caught a lot of fish. Walleye, bass. It was fun.
That's what you want.
You try to fish, you try to catch. They don't call it catching, they call it fishing. So, you're going to miss.
Yeah.
I missed a lot. I caught a lot of rocks.
Oh yeah. That
seaweed. Big rock fan, this guy.
Yeah.
Big. Did you catch more rocks than fish?
No comment.
I catch a lot of trees when I'm out fishing.
What?
Yeah.
Trees.
No, like
trees that are down trees and stuff
Yeah,
like
you
that.
can grab like branches, seaweed that's been in there.
See, when you're fly fishing, you catch a lot of leaves and branches behind you.
Oh,
that one's tough.
Yep.
That because you lose some very small flies.
Yeah, not easy to do in Maryland. There's not a whole lot of like wide open, rivers in Maryland.
That's true.
We'll do that.
I mean, not right in Baltimore. Not a lot of people are going to the Inner Harbor and whoosh,
fly fishing
in
in the Inner Harbor.
Just saying, I haven't done that yet, but Cole, maybe we can do that in the future. And for you right now, great to see you. I know obviously you're kind of in limbo right now. For those that don't know, just understanding the process of, being DFA'd and comments like that, can you just explain to everyone kind of what that means, what that entails?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically this time of year, it's just a waiting period. If you go through waivers, which is about 48 hours, I think teams have to go to their computer and click yes or no on your name. And so third time this year, it is what it is. But I mean, it's part of the process, right? Like multiple roles this season, just kind of ever changing landscape for myself. And so I'm happy for the Orioles right now. First, let's get that off my chest. I'm love seeing them celebrate in Yankee Stadium. That's always a good feeling. But also a little hard to watch for myself because I helped the team all year. But when you're DFA'd, Twins, I mean, I spent a week there and had a great time. Bunch of good people over there. It's very hard for me to dislike people in situations, but they got a good thing over there in Minnesota, so maybe they can squeak it out too. But enjoyed my week over there. At least I got to play with some dogs on Tuesday morning, so that was great.
Hell yeah! So got that in. I mean that, and for those that don't know, and they probably do know, is all your community work, especially with the Bark Shelter in Baltimore. There, you're always trying to give back, and I appreciate you explaining the process. I know I could have done that, but I wanted people to hear it from you, just because this is the business part, but you have the business part, which you understand. But you also have the emotional part, where you're like, all right, this stinks. This sucks. And I know for you with Baltimore, when we've talked off air, I know you love being here. I know you really enjoyed and embraced. And for people that still don't remember, I mean, you were helping bring that fun culture last year with the bird bath and embracing this community. But I know it's bittersweet that this moment for the Orioles that they were able to clinch yesterday. But you would know better than everyone, Cole. Did the Orioles ever, when you were there, just out of curiosity, it might be a rhetorical question, did they ever give up during the season? Because all I've heard,
season ended in July.
That the season was done about 3 months ago.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think we all knew that we just needed to get Jordan Westburg back in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
He is just a broken record. He keeps that offense pumping,
defense,
top to bottom. He's unbelievable. So yeah, I think it just hurt a little bit to not have Jordan Westburg in the lineup. But all in all, like the team, there was no doubt that we were going to be in this position. There was zero. It was just trying to get there. I think that was the hardest part, was just like, we were going through it. We were so close. We just had to take care of business. And then it just happened that way. Right. Like it was just kind of, trying to get to the chance to clinch a postseason berth is a lot harder when you're in the trenches, grinding through it, not playing your best baseball, trying to create momentum, all of that being included. There was no give up. There was none of that. So it was just like too many.
Hard, I guess. Kind of a hard thing to do.
Baseball's pretty hard, right?
Yeah, you fail more than you succeed. Weird.
You don't say.
It's crazy.
7 out of every times you go to that plate, you're probably going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. This year I started looking at batting averages just from a percentage standpoint, and I'm just like, oh, he only gets on 24%.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you think about it that way, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
people see guys that are batting like 310, 315, and they assume that, oh, they're going to get on every single time. It's like, no, that means he gets on 31% of the time. That does not mean he's guaranteed to get on.
Yeah.
Baseball's hard.
Yeah. Aaron Judge is having a ridiculous, one of the best seasons again for a player. And what his batting average is 323. So 32% of the time he's getting on base via a hit. It's so damn hard, Cole. But I'm just glad you mentioned that because I think it's just always perspective, right? It's perspective of how much time and effort goes in. It's perspective on I told people this this year about last year's team. I really felt like the Baltimore Orioles of 23 was kind of like a fairy tale in some cases where I go, that's not a proper way to describe a 162, right? Like any game that you fell behind, you won. Any one-run game, stop traffic, you came back and you pulled it out, right? So this year was the first time it was truly a lot of adversity. And then even I think, quite frankly, Cole, you probably had the most adversity of the staff last year because of being in the rotation, being sent down, coming back up, and then having to fit a role. Can you talk about how hard that is to be able to go from the bullpen to the starting rotation? And how guys like Albert Suarez, like I tell people, that what he's doing is not easy to do, but you guys got to go out and try to make it happen.
Yeah. Changing roles, I think this year really messed with me more than it did last year. And I think the option being able to start when I went down to AAA kind of just helped because I stayed on a routine. This year, not having that option and having to change roles whenever the team wanted was extremely difficult. And I'm not trying to use that as a crutch for myself, but I mean, it's reflective in the numbers. When I was on routine, my ERA was about what it is as a starter, about around a 4. Relieving is where I got really beat up this year. Where in years past has been in years past, last year was a lot better relieving numbers wise, but I'm still not comfortable with it. It's just the routine of things. And so when you're being asked to start a bunch of games like Albert has this year, I think he's going to be fantastic going into that reliever role for the playoffs because I think he's going to carry some momentum. Hopefully if he goes into the reliever role, I'm speculating here,
right?
Because I am no longer tied to anyone. I'm just speculating because this is fun to do now. Because I like Dean starting. I think Dean starting is a lot better opportunity for the team. If they need that 4th starter, because really you need three good ones.
Yeah.
And right now, Cole, it looks like Dean's probably going to be the 3rd because Grayson is done. They shut him down for good for the year. So you're going to have Corbin, Zach Eflin, and then probably it's going to be Dean. Or Big Al. And for that exact reason that Big Al's done both of being a reliever and a starter, I would say put Dean in that 3rd spot of the rotation. And he's been pitching well. Yeah, I think that we just need to drill Dean with like 103 mile an hour.
Every time
the forearm.
It starts getting a little, shaky. 103 to the forearm. He's back.
I told him that again after his last start. Yeah. I'm like, hey, Dean, I'm ready if you need another bruise. He goes, please,
Yeah, I got so nervous for him when he got hit there. Oh man, my adrenaline was pumping because I was just so nervous that it was going to be the worst case scenario. Yeah. And then seeing all the pressure drain to his wrist was really awkward.
Crazy.
Really, that was weird. But no, I think Dean is definitely throwing the ball really well right now. So he's going to be the 3rd man there. But Albert being able to do both in a 7-game set is going to be huge for the team. And so him having that ability to be able to go, starting and relieving is going to be huge. And it's not easy to do. It's when you've been on a routine all season, it's hard to switch into, I need my best stuff right now. I need to throw my best slider. I need to throw my best curveball. I need to throw my best heater where it needs to go right now. And that was something that I struggled with. Getting into the, I'd didn't throw many cutters when I was coming out of the bullpen. And once I got over to the Twins for a week, I started throwing more cutters, getting back into having success using it. So you just got to figure out what's going to be a good weapon for you and Albert for the postseason. And when he switches into that role, if he's being asked to, is going to have to do that. And I think if they add Cade Povich as well to that mix, he's got to figure out what he needs to do to get the hitters out right then and there.
That's the biggest part. Starter, you're in the same routine. You can try to get a little bit of a feel, but it's a different type of, hey, you got to be ready to go right now. You know, me and Bauman talked about that for a while, Cole, because Bauman was a starter his whole career until he got to the bigs.
Right.
And then it was trying to figure out, how do you become a reliever? And the ones that were saying, hey, just if Grayson's healthy, throw him into the closing role. And I'm like, hey, pump the brakes here. Not that Grayson doesn't have great stuff, but there's a lot more that goes into it. Obviously, he's not pitching this postseason, but it's context. Cole, you're really good at giving context. And I appreciate you for that.
Try.
I wish you were, here. I wish you were coming back to Baltimore. Maybe Dumb and Dumber moment. You're telling me there's a chance. I don't really know if there is a chance, but I just watched that the other day. But I think I see a lot of comments, man. You're beloved here.
Yeah, I was going to say every comment is about either they miss you or they hope you come back. So
I would love to come back if there's an opportunity, but I think for my career, I'd love to start.
Yep.
I'm going forward. I know I'm a starter. I've always been a starter. Relieving this year was extremely difficult for me, just to find consistency. And I failed, like plain and simple. Like, I'm not afraid to admit it. Like, I failed as a reliever this season. But there's something cool about this season that I get to say is that for a stretch of, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it may have been, I was one of the best pitchers in baseball as a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, leaning on that, I know I can use that going forward as motivation and ways to get better, watch those outings and use that as just positivity for the season. And I got Birdland to thank for that. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah. Honestly, when we talked to you last, that was when you were on that stretch run. And honestly, it goes back to Rocco's fault.
I was going to say,
just Rocco. I was just going to say it.
Rocco ended your scoreless streak. I honestly, we're not trying to make excuses, obviously, Cole. And you're a man of accountability. I'll do accountability. It was Rocco's fault. Just to throw that out there. But I love that you mentioned, Cole, about you did prove it for that stretch of time, man. You were on fire, truly. So that's the part. It doesn't just you lose that ability. You just got to find it again. You got to find yourself. So I think that's the cool part. And, I like you as a starter. I mean, that's how you got up into the big leagues as a starter. I mean, hell, if people know your whole route, now you Twins with the Orioles, but before it started in Oakland, there's a lot going on over there in Oakland right now, Cole.
Yeah.
A lot of emotions. Did you see all the – I think we have a video of a guy like ripping out the seats in there. Do we have that video up at all?
Yes,
maybe? I think so. Maybe.
No, we have the sand.
Oh, we got the dirt. Yeah, let's pull the dirt up real quickly. Yeah, so their game's done. They're putting up dirt for everyone. The last game at the Coliseum
is today. Barry Zito singing the national anthem.
Is he really?
Wow,
he just did it.
That is that's incredible to kind of see how this all is, right, Cole? And it hasn't been an easy go for the A's fans, but I just thought because you were over there, you pitched there, if you got some memories of what it was over there and how much you're involved with communities, that was the organization then that, you really got your shot in the bigs.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of got my footing in terms of what I needed to do to be who I am. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was the biggest one I'm going to remember is Stephen Vogt's last home run. And that whole day, his kids announcing him coming up to the plate. Just, gosh, it brings a tear to your eye because there's so much happiness in that moment, right? But, just watching the fans, I'm watching today's game as well. Like, it sucks to see a fan base lose their team. And the way it's happening, I think as a player who has played there, that baseball is deep in that Oakland community, and it just doesn't feel right that it's ending this way. And unfortunately, there's powers that be that can make those decisions, and the players and the community don't always get a choice in that. And so it's I'm going to miss it. I remember a standing ovation. I think it was 4th of July or around 4th of July. We had a sold out against the Blue Jays and went 8 2/3, almost a complete game. Would have been the first of my career. And just the standing ovation, how loud that place got after that outing was incredible. I believe that was in 21. There again, Oakland, just the green and gold, and me being an Oregon Duck, green and gold. There's quite a few connections there that make me smile. But the people that were there, the stadium workers to the security staff, there was a lot of guys that even when I went back as a visitor in a O's uniform, being able to see all those people and it's amazing the amount of family that is connected to that team, to that stadium. And it runs deeper than just front office and team. It's concession staff. It's everyone there. It's a family, and it's sad to see the way it's going.
Yeah, and right now the crazy thing also is that even though they're moving out, like there's no set plan yet for Vegas. Like they're still trying to figure out if it's going to be happening in Vegas. The team's playing in Sacramento next year, which we do know that. See how that unfolds, but
it's gonna be hot. It gets up to like 110 on that field.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. Just light work. It's gonna be. I guess they're gonna play baseball there.
Yeah,
that's all I know.
And you know what? Tom Hanks, Cole, even commented on it. He said about it. It just was a mistake in his mind. He thinks it's sad that it was an organization that has so much history when you think about it. I know some people think the Coliseum isn't the greatest stadium, and that's up for debate. That's people's bias. But the fan base is real. It's probably one of the most passionate fan bases. It just so happens to be there's so many other issues that the fans cannot control. That's more at an organizational level, at a executive level, that you can't really, it's only so much you can do. But hey, they showed out. The families are there. You're right. For a team that Oakland's got a lot of connections, man. And I how could I forget your Oregon Ducks? I know the colors. Of course you love the colors.
I had to mention that. It's
Cole's finding a different way to mention the Oregon Ducks, man. Hey, you know what? Oregon almost fell to the Boise State Broncos, man, in Eugene. I'm just saying.
We've almost fell to the first two. We almost fell to Idaho.
Yeah, that was
it was not a happy first 2 weeks, but we took care of business against Oregon State, and Adley gave me $100, so that's great.
So that was an easy way to make 100. Did he? So the bet was like $100. Oregon.
Yeah, just win. Whoever wins, $100. Okay.
Well,
that's incredible.
That was a boat race.
Yeah, you were feeling good early. I'm looking up those stats again. In that one.
I love how just under the red, like, then we took care of Oregon State. Adley owed me $100. Just slide it in there. Let him know.
You have to throw little daggers in. It's a rivalry for a reason. You have to do it.
Yeah, and it's a little different for Adley because he played football at Oregon State. He's looking at the old uniform he put on, and they're losing it. It's tough.
I'm a little disappointed you got Mr. Met and the Philly Fanatic next to each other, though.
I know. I have a lot of things. I was trying to get playoff teams going in front of me, but then I had the Rays here as well because we need them to beat the Tigers. They didn't.
I'm just saying, you put those two together.
We can put the Royals in between them.
Yeah, thank you. A little separation.
That's on me. They're going to fight if we don't.
Yeah. So Cole, how these mascots all came about growing up. Every stadium that I went to watch my dad play, my mom made sure I got one of the mascots. So these mascots are like 20 years old.
Yeah, they're all really
nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so they're pretty electric. We got a lot of them. We got the Rockies one over here too.
Yeah, it's not just mascots we have too. We also have other type of things.
Yeah, we got we root for the Buffs in here, or I root for the Buffs and the Terps.
Yeah, so we have a lot of Buffalo stuff over here.
Yeah,
Go Buffs.
Go Buffs, baby. Cole, my sister works for in the athletic department at CU. Has been there. Went to college there. Worked there since she was in college. So root for the Buffs. Root for Boise State because my brother-in-law lives and dies by the Boise State Broncos. So he was a little bit heartbroken that Oregon pulled that out. And then we root for the Terps down here, man. And I saw Steven. I got the Oriole bird here, man. Like this guy's not going anywhere. We got all these.
No.
Yeah. Hey, Cole, question. Maybe you have an answer.
Probably don't.
Yeah, probably not. Why is the most that I've ever seen people really criticize Adley? For a lot of different, they're saying, oh, he's slumping. And baseball's hard, right? I checked my notes. Baseball is really hard. And it has been a slump for him. But can you just speak to the type of stress and strain that catchers have to go through? Obviously, they got to do a lot of the dirty work. Maybe they get a foul ball, it hits them right in the shin or right in the underneath the pad. Can you just talk about what you think or why that perception is?
You know, Adley has gone. I mean, the last 3 seasons for him has been incredible. This season, I think he's just maybe feeling the first 2 seasons in the big leagues finally kind of just catch up. He's might be a little tired. And that's maybe just more speaking like how I would feel if I was in his shoes.
Right.
Wearing balls off your gear and all that, on a nightly basis and expecting to hit doubles every at bat. Like the amount of pressure that he has underneath him, no one is ever going to understand but him. So I think the biggest thing that I have seen when I'm working with him, it just seems like he's maybe pressing a little too much, just a little too much, trying to get that extra base hit, trying to bring in that runner home. And he might be overthinking it instead of just trying to go in there with a simple approach. Because when you're hot, Ryan, you can speak to this. Like when you're hot, what are you thinking about? Nothing is in your brain. So when you're going at your worst, what are you thinking about? Literally everything. And that's pitching and hitting. So I think he's just, you have to manage a full starting staff, a bullpen, knowing how your guys' shapes are working that night. Plus you're 0 for 3 and your at bats coming up and you're down 1 run. Like there's a lot of pressure in those moments when you're, when you've been taking those on for, now 2.5 seasons, actually probably 3 seasons, thinking about his timeline, but it's a lot of pressure, man. And I think it's just maybe just all kind of maybe caught up at this time of year. But I think once the playoff hit, it's going to be a reset. I think them clinching was probably the best situation for the team just to kind of get everything reset. And look how scary they've been these last 2 games in New York. It's been incredible to watch. Been watching every night. Keegan Aiken's having a hell of a September too.
Thank you.
And I was close with him, trying to pick his brain on how to be a better reliever. And that was about around the time when he started getting hot. And he's awesome. Jacob Webb being back, Coulomb being back, like team's almost full strength. And we still have an all-star rotation that is unavailable and hurt. Like it's unbelievable.
It's so crazy.
They say sometimes just shit's bananas, Zach. BANANAS. It truly is. But for the Orioles, it's true. They have all these injuries, right? But they're right where they need to be, Cole, at the right time. And they have the right guys. And I'm glad you mentioned Keegan Aiken. He just dropped his ERA to 0.87 for the month of September.
So
I did not know that. I just
How about
knew
that?
he was throwing the ball well.
The more you know, Cole. Anytime you need more answers, you can come to me. Before I let you get out of here, anything you want to promote, what's going on, and if I can bother you in the future as the last question.
You can bother me anytime. If we want to talk playoff baseball when it gets here and I'm just sitting at home, you guys can have me on at any time. Just let me know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well now we're going to do that. We're going to do that. I'm going to get Gavin Sheets back in town to talk about how the White Sox are the best team the last 2 days in baseball.
They're up 7-0 right now.
Wow.
They with 6 games to go, they couldn't lose another game or they set the record for the worst team. and it looks like they're going to win 3 straight. If they do this, it would be incredible.
Attaboy, Gav.
That's what we need. We'll have Gavin come in and talk about pitching or pitchers that he's faced. And Cole, we'll have you come on and talk some playoff baseball. Does that work?
Let's do it. Oh, Nick's going to be on your show right here sometime today.
Yeah, he's coming up in about 32 minutes. We got Tim Kurkjian next.
Yeah, just tell him he needs better golf outfits.
He'll
Bro,
take that
like,
well.
literally, I get notifications every Monday that he's out golfing. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah, he needs to focus on his lawn snapping, not his golf game.
Hey, Cole, I got to send you a great video.
Oh my God, yeah, we haven't aired that yet.
Cole, we got to get you both on at the same time. Oh my goodness,
He got railroaded by a rookie in the preseason, and it was hilarious.
all on video.
I just so happened that I was recording at the exact time it happened, and we haven't aired it. It hasn't hit social media yet. We're waiting for the perfect time, but we will definitely send that to you.
And
unbelievable person. I love the guy. So I'll probably be watching when he's on the show. But just let him know that I still think I'm a better golfer than him.
Oh, we will without a doubt.
Better dressed and better golfer.
Yeah.
Cole, appreciate it. I'll text you after we're done here. But you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. All right.
Sounds good. Talk to you guys later.
Cole Irvin, everybody.
Appreciate you, Cole.
And if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. That was Cole joining us here. And man, honestly, what I love about him, he's real. He's honest. He's not shying away from any issues. He talked about his failures as a player, but also explained the intricacies. That's what I was trying to explain to you guys, Zach and Brad. It's not as simple as saying, hey, go do one job and get out of routine and do another.
Yeah.
And that's the real part of it. But you know what I also loved? He's got a true passion for this Birdland community, for the Baltimore Orioles, and he wants nothing for the best. But I think we might have another analyst for us for the postseason then, talking a little bit of baseball. So that will be great. And if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. And I think I want to make sure if I can get our next guest. We can't?
I'll make it happen.
You can make it happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just bring him on and I'll fix it.
All right. So for our next guest, he's moving and grooving, but we appreciate him taking the time. Friend of the show, friend of the program, ESPN's own Tim Kurkjian.
Hey.
Tim, how you doing?
I'm well, fellas. Can you hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you, but you focus on driving and we don't have to you can just listen to us. You can hear us though, right, Tim?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry about
I love Tim.
Drag luggage all over the BWI airport. I dropped them right, so sorry about this. No choice.
Yeah, all good. So you went in and out for a second, but I know what you're doing. You got to move and groove, and traveling to and from airports, by the way, that can be a haul. But hey, Tim, appreciate you taking the time. You know what? I think it's a good time just as far as on the national baseball side here. It was seeing the goodbyes in Oakland yesterday. And I know that everything's wrapping up, and I know that there's a lot of people that look at, the way things have shaped up for Oakland and not playing, just talk about the production on the field. But as far as a franchise and organization, Oakland has been one of the most, what's the correct word? Historic organizations in baseball. Do you just have any words just touching on that this is really the end of an era of baseball in Oakland?
Yeah, and I think it's really sad, fellas, because you guys are too young to really appreciate what Oakland was like mid-80s, late. That 80s team that just demolished the Giants in the World Series, that team was really, really good. And I just came up the other day for our podcast with the all Oakland A's team, and it is star-studded with Reggie Jackson and Ricky Henderson and Joe Rudy and and Mark McGuire. They're everywhere, stars everywhere. And that's why it's really sad, because before they, filled in that ballpark and made it a football stadium. It was also one of the greatest places to watch a game. When center field was open, the Oakland Hills in the background, it was a spectacular view. Now, of course, it's not, and I understand why they're leaving, but it's not right. It's not right that a team with this kind of rich tradition has basically been forced out ultimately by, poor ownership over the years.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, it's not even, I mentioned it. We just had Cole Irvin on, who, obviously former Oriole, former Oakland A. But, not only are players talking about it, Hollywood actors are jumping up there. Tom Hanks, even, I guess it's floating around. He wrote a message to Cody Stavenhagen, I think is the right pronunciation. But anyway, Tom Hanks was saying it really sad. He feels like it was just a missed opportunity for the team leaving Oakland. And I guess it's not set in stone. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Tim. I mean, they're going to Sacramento, but still things aren't figured out in Vegas for the A's moving forward, correct?
That is correct. Now, I think they're going to move to Vegas, but when they start digging holes in Las Vegas, then we'll really, really start to pay attention. Because until then, nothing is certain when it comes to baseball and when it comes to Oakland's ownership and everything else. Anything is possible. But I just think the A's at this point need a better home in which to play. And if Las Vegas is going to provide a better home, I guess I'm okay with that. But it's just really a shame that somehow, some way, it couldn't have been worked out that a new stadium could have been built for the A's in Oakland, because they should be still there long term, but it just didn't work out. And again, that's a loss for baseball.
It truly is. And I mean, now, right, Brad, this has been the storyline here the last 24, 48 hours, because it looks like things are kind of shaping up in the playoff races. Well, the one biggest playoff series or playoff-esque series, the Mets and the Braves, that's got to get pushed to Monday. And I mean, shirts and pants, that one's got to be on the day after the season ends, that potentially could decide the fate of two teams, but you're going to have to wait. Here we are again, though, Tim. The postseason baseball never ceases to amaze. And the team that a lot of people were not as hopeful with, the Baltimore Orioles, are now looking like they're getting healthy at the right time. And Cole just even told us he thought Jordan Westberg is the guy that makes everything go offensively. So now that's for everyone's interpretation, right? Everyone's got their own feelings. But can you just attest to how Baltimore, like any team, if you get in the postseason, anything can happen, as history has shown itself?
Right. I've had a couple people tell me that the Orioles remind them a little bit of the Rangers last year. Remember, the Rangers lost 20 out of 30. Maybe not down the stretch, but pretty late in the season, and then lost the final game of the season to lose the division. And yet, instead of folding up, they went in as a wild card and ran the table. I think the Orioles are capable of doing that. And I only say that not because I think they're a great, great team now. I'm just not sure if there is a great, great team out there. Every contending team has a hole, has a flaw. And if that can be exploited, every team can be beaten. And I'm with you on Jordan Westberg. I mean, Brandon Hyde has been telling me all year how good a player this guy is. Never gives up an at-bat, never gives up a pitch. Great two-strike hitter. And you've seen, even just the last 2 days, how the offense has changed with him in it. So you get him and you get some other people going. The Orioles have a good offensive team. It just wasn't a good offensive team for about 3 weeks in September, but that could change, and maybe it's already started to change with the first 2 games in New York.
It looks like it. And the Orioles won the season series against the Yankees yet again for the second straight year. And for Baltimore, I'm glad you mentioned that the Rangers, because that to me is the comparison, mainly because two teams that could hit the ball out of the ballpark as good as anybody. Texas did that last year. You can get streaky. We saw what Texas did, but they had some key injuries as well. And actually, Jordan Montgomery was the X factor for them in the pitching staff. Zach Eflin might be that for Baltimore. And context, Tim, you said 20 of the last 30 for Texas. Texas was 50-51 over the last 101 games last year. So it's always context there when it goes to talking about baseball. But it's a fun time. If we're going to take aside the Orioles here and we're looking at the American League, because you're saying there's really no team that scares anybody, is there one team that you have your eye on to see what they could do or make a push in the postseason in the American League?
Well, I think you always got to keep your eye on the Yankees just because of the 2 and 3 hitters who are, putting up monstrous seasons and can carry that team to the World Series, at least offensively, almost by themselves. So I think the Yankees are the most dangerous in the American League, even though you never, ever, ever discount the Astros, given they've been to 7 straight league championship series. And they look an awful lot like the team. But get back in Seattle, and I asked around, who's the number 2 starter here after Garrett Cole in the playoffs? And I didn't get an answer from anyone because they didn't know the answer. Luis Gil has the best stuff of any of those guys after Cole, but is he he's rookie to start? When you're not positive who your number 2 starter is in the postseason, I think that in theory could lead to some issues. And yet I think the Yankees could just pound their way through any sort of problems with the offense that they have, led by Soto and Judge. But again, my original point, every team, even those 6 teams in the National League, they all have a bit of a flaw, and whoever, can hide their flaw the best might end up winning the World Series.
And that's usually how it goes. You got to get in and then let it all happen. But it is a good point that you're bringing up. Yeah, yesterday talking about Judge and Soto, they had 6 of the 7 RBIs for the Yankees. But the bigger problem is going to be not where their offensive production is going to be, is that second starter. It does matter to have a 1-2 punch. And Zach, I think that goes into it because Baltimore certainly does have that with Zach Eflin.
Yeah, and Tim, thanks for joining the show. But you talked about the importance of a second starter in the playoffs. The Yankees have Garrett Cole. You're not sure who starts after that. The Orioles have Corbin Burns. And for a while, they weren't sure with Grayson going down who would start after that for them. But Zach Eflin has been really just the pickup of the deadline, especially for the Orioles. How important is it, and kind of can you talk on the impact you've seen from Zach Eflin being that veteran presence to come into this Orioles rotation and kind of just take over that number 2 spot with his play?
Oop.
If he's on the Parkway, I get it.
Yeah. he's
Question left him speechless.
He's frozen right now, so hopefully we'll
get him back in.
Yeah.
But it's a great point here. And for those that didn't hear Zach's question about, or Tim's point before, was the Orioles do have 2 starters that they know who are their game 1 and 2 guys.
Yeah.
And that matters. And the Yankees, Cortez is now on the IL at the moment, right? And they don't even know if he's going to be ready until the ALCS at the earliest. Luis Gil is nasty, by the way. That dude's got great stuff. Obviously, a lot of promise for them moving forward. But is he ready? Clayton Schmidt actually pitched last night for the Yankees. Really good stuff, and he's actually working back from a lat injury, guys.
Ironically, the Orioles actually broke Luis Gil. He was on a bender.
He was on a bender.
The O's just took him to the woodshed.
Yeah.
Ever since then, it's been a different guy.
And it just goes to show. And also, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the other part where people are looking at. It's a young group. I'd probably throw Clayton Schmidt in there to the group, but also lat injuries where I was getting to. That sidelined Schmidt for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, with the Grayson Rodriguez situation, maybe we touch on that for a hair. Obviously, he's done for the season.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was always possibly there's a setback there, and I think there was a setback. I don't care what's being said out there. I think that there's a setback, and then you're looking at the probability of him getting re-injured. And is that going to work? And clearly it was not worth it for Baltimore because there's still to say like, hey, he's done and they could play for another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, just goes to show you that lat was a lot more of an issue than was let on.
Yeah. And
so
I'll say, I believe there wasn't necessarily a setback. I do believe when they said they just ran out of time specifically because we talked to Yoni about it. And Yoni said when we talked to him, he was 6 weeks out from the playoffs. And we said, is it possible to get back in these 6 weeks? And he said he can start throwing in 6 weeks. He's like, I don't know if that will be in a game. I don't know if that's just playing catch, but he's like, it is as tight as it's going to get timeline wise when it came to when this injury happened, of the injury timeline. So I do believe that, I'm not sure there was a major setback. Maybe there was something where they're like, this would delay it a week, and at that point it's not worth it. But I do think, unfortunately, it was just the time was against them. And Yoni kind of warned us from the beginning that, hey, it's not that, there's nothing they can do. It's just the timeline's the timeline. These injuries take time to heal, and it unfortunately was put exactly at the time where he was on the cusp of, can he pitch, can he not pitch?
It was, and it's unfortunate, but it's his second lat injury in the last 2.5 seasons. And that first one kept him out for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as you want to chase a World Series, you got to look at a pitcher that is not even into his prime yet, and that you're hoping is going to be a huge part of your future. You can't risk that just for a chance right now. It's the same thing with Felix Bautista. I know people are holding out hope their Orioles go on a run. If it jeopardizes him and your future, I don't want that either, because you're hoping Felix Bautista is your closer for the next 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And I understand you're saying, oh, anything could happen, Ryan. Yeah, but if he's almost healthy and he got hurt coming back, that would be devastating, for especially the player trying to get where they want to. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button, by the way. It's Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Monday and Thursday. And then Sunday, we're doing the pregame show for the Bills and the Ravens. So we want you to tune in there. I don't know if Tim Kurkjian's going to hop back on, because I'll tell you what, the Baltimore-Washington Parkway guys, as you know, is no one's friend.
Yeah.
No one's friend.
We know.
Yeah, you guys have heard me ranting too many times, going up and down that puppy.
Yeah.
But one thing that Tim was touching on earlier, and Cole mentioned, it was this Oakland A's story. And we actually had earlier on in the year, had Buster Olney to come on and talk about the whole situation with Oakland. So we wanted to play a clip from one of our earlier shows in April, I believe, is when he came on.
Yeah.
And it still rings kind of true to this moment right now. So if we can play that clip of Buster Olney talking about the Oakland A's situation.
Yep.
It's terrible. And I don't understand why the other owners allow it to happen. A few years ago, during the lockout, a lot of the major league players would focus on Rob Manfred. And they would say, Rob, ruining baseball. And it became like this way for the players to sort of pull together. And I'd sit there and look at it and say, no, Rob Manfred is not your problem. It's the owners right now. And I've always thought of the, baseball owners as being this loose confederacy of 30 private businesses rather than this great, cohesive unit. Because you would think at some point the other owners would go, look, this is not worthy of our product. What you are signaling now is that you're going to be tanking. You've been tanking for 2 years, and you're borrowing on the competitive integrity of all of us. And now you're signaling you're going to put a substandard product, charge major league prices to fans. This should not stand. And meanwhile, the other owners, and they should, part of the incentive for changing is not only to have a standard for your industry, but they want to get 2 expansion teams sooner rather than later. And until this mess is taken care of, they really can't do that. And my question, I'm not smart enough business-wise to answer this, but is allowing the A's to do what they are doing, will that depreciate the potential value of any expansion franchises? I don't understand why they sit back and allow the A's to operate business like this. It's terrible.
So there was Buster talking about the whole situation, from the product on the field where they're not spending a lot of money, but there's no game plan for their future. That's number one. Number two, obviously that they're allowing this to kind of unfold, that the team is leaving. And going back to that Tom Hanks quote that Cody Stavenhagen got from that was emailed to him, and I apologize that the pronunciation's wrong, but in the messaging was it, and you can find it on Twitter, the quote was, does Major League Baseball turn inside out one of the most storied franchises in the history of the game? The Oakland A's, not the East Bay Athletics or the California Golden A's. The Oakland A's could have / should have been the Northern California version of the Cubs in Wrigley, the Bo Sox in Fenway, and Pittsburgh's Buccos on the Allegheny. Cleveland's Guardians are on the shores of Erie, beloved baseball teams with eternal hope every opening day until the millennial comes. It is one of the more historic franchises in all of baseball. And even Tom Hanks, who, yes, he's a sports fan. He's obviously not involved in the sports world. He's played some characters, by the way, League of Their Own. He was a manager. Phenomenal film, by the way. I know, Zach, you haven't seen that.
I have, actually.
You have?
League of Their Own? Yeah, I watched in History of Baseball.
It's on TV.
Good. There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah, I did take a History of Baseball class. Which
Hell
is
yeah.
That is, how does that happen?
I don't know. It was for sports broadcasting.
I did take a music history class one time, and that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was the easiest class I've ever taken.
So that was
in my
one of the
life.
options. Is it was like a music history, the arts history, and then there was like all these different sports history ones. I was like, I know what I'm picking.
Yeah. But the point being, going back to it, sorry, I got off topic. But the point being, it's just an unfortunate situation. Like, we know that there were issues in Oakland, how things have been run, but it does suck. You know, I love tradition.
Yeah.
And I understand that the tradition was a little bit, not that it went away, but that the way that people viewed the Oakland A's has dropped. And that starts with the organizational failure. That's not me trying to be bashful. That's just the reality of the situation. Organizational failure, where you could have kept a good product on the field. They traded away a lot of big pieces.
Yeah. And somehow kept Brent Rooker, which is crazy to me.
Well, Brent Rooker then also
He was a
revived his career.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that also, friend of the program, been on the show here in the beginning when we started.
Owns the Orioles.
Yeah, he really does. Certainly does. But it sucks. And the Oakland fans, to me, they deserve better. They love that team. And for me, it's sad that a new generation of fans are not going to understand the tradition of what Oakland baseball is. That, I think, is what is really sad to me. They really are one of those historic teams. And I would say that Baltimore is the same way. If Baltimore ever left, and they never were, but I understand why fans were worried, because it rips your heart out.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, this is Moneyball. Like, even if we want to talk about people who weren't around when it was like the big bad Oakland Athletics, you have the Moneyball movie that even kids that are 12 years old that never saw a good
Jason Giambi's.
Yeah, like there's just so much history
Yeah.
when it comes to Oakland, and just so many historic moments in baseball have happened in the Coliseum. It's a damn shame what's happening in Oakland.
Not only that, but and I don't want to take away from any of that, because you guys are spot on with all that, but the way that they're going about doing it and putting them to Sacramento,
horrible.
Right? It's just so, it's not even terrible. It's not even just terrible for the team that has to play there, but then the visiting team that has to come there. And then what, the max attendance is like 10,000, 15,000 fans, something like that. It's something ridiculous. Just a way that they're going about. They could have done it in so many other tasteful ways. If they truly felt like they had no other choice than to move the team. Like, there were so many other ways to execute this better, rather than just treat the team like shit, treat the players like shit, treat the fans like shit.
Yeah.
And it's just horrible all the way around.
When they announced they were going to Sacramento, John Fisher literally in his speech said he can't wait to see star players like Aaron Judge hit home runs in Sacramento. And everyone's like, you're literally you had no faith in any of his players. He's like, yeah, people are going to come to see the other team. And that's the issue.
Yeah.
Is they're not putting a competitive team on the field.
Insane.
Well, and they've done better than people thought they would this year. Still not great. They've exceeded those expectations. But again, it's the end goal here. And there's so many problems from the top down. And it's a shame. It sucks. And now that's just the harsh reality.
I mean, the Athletics aren't even in last place in their division.
Yeah.
They're 5 games ahead of the Angels. Like, ridiculous.
And talk about an organization that continues to not get it right. You let prime Ohtani, prime Mike Trout, who I know has been injured, and none of those guys really you've had
wasted talent. Not like Mike Trout is such a wasted talent.
I know it was at the end of his career, but they really had, for a good minute, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, and a pretty decent Albert Pujols, and they didn't win a single playoff game.
Nope.
Oh, sugar. Well, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We do this every Monday and Thursday live at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Sundays, we got the Bills-Ravens. We're going to go live before that game as well. Join us and be a part of the giveaways. We're going to put out one giveaway, little Easter egg for those that are loyal to the show. We'll put that out on Instagram tomorrow and see if you guys can figure it out for our first giveaway. But guys, before we dive into a little bit more football conversation, and we look back on a couple things from this past week, why don't we take a ride on our Jeep? Sorry, not our Jeep. Well, actually,
we already did ride on the Jeep.
No, hypothetically, you could take a ride on the Jeep as we take a road trip up to our friends at Hollywood Casino up at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Ooh, it was good.
Some vibrato there.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was spicy.
Yeah.
Gets the people going. But I'll tell you what, Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races, big event that's happening up there October 27th. We're going to be up there as we do a live show, and they are having a tailgate party up there. Football Sunday, actually, in that game, I believe it's the Browns and the Ravens are facing off, but we'll be up there doing a show, and also come hang out. We have the link here, if I can pull it up in a second, of the actual event and how you can enter to have a chance to win to go up to the event. But we're going to be there. We have a lot in store with them. And I think they want to give, guys, the murmurs from my sources, they want to give 10 giveaways for this football season. And packages.
Ooh.
Oh. How about that?
Hey, how about that?
How about that? You know, in Austin Powers, and they go, how about no? How about yeah? Hollywood Casino Charlestown Races, a lot going on there. October 27th. Check out. You'll see on social media where we have the rest of the post there because I'm having trouble pulling it up here. But again, it's only an hour from Owens Mills and an hour and 15 to get to West Virginia. Don't you forget that.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. They are great. They are great sponsors. Guys, before we have the Fighting Nick Moores hop on here, we did talk a little bit of Orioles, and then we talked some Ravens and back to the Orioles. How about top 5 quarterbacks? Should we talk about that?
Yeah.
So top 5 quarterbacks right now. So Dan Orlovsky recently on First Take just revealed his top 5 quarterback list right now in the NFL. So we'll play the clip, and then we can talk about it on the other side.
Oop, not that one. Oh, I just lost it. Oh, no, here it is. I got it.
Top 5 A-list when it comes to the quarterbacks right now in football that are playing the best. Okay, so America, relax. We're going to ruffle some feathers. Molly doesn't want me to use that. Maybe panties in a bundle, something like that.
I never suggested that. I never said it's not a bundle.
Maybe more anxiety. All right, right now, top 5 right now. Don't get your feelings hurt, okay? Let's start number 5. We're going all the way to the Pacific Northwest, Geno Smith. Geno Smith, some of the throws that Geno's made this year have been absolutely ridiculous. The ball placement leading to incredible yards after the catch. If you watch him late in games, and for all you people at home going, he threw 2 interceptions last week. They were tipped, okay? So take a deep breath. But some of the throws downfield to DK Metcalf that have led to big plays, unbelievable start to Geno's season, and he got mad at me that I didn't put him on a list another time. Number 4, Kyler Murray. You can make the case Kyler Murray's in the running for the MVP right now. Kyler Murray has got the Cardinals at 2-1. Not his fault last week that they lost to Detroit Lions. Tough game. The connection with Marvin Harrison. The plays that he's made with his legs. Kyler looks like Kyler there. You're like, hey, man, this cat at Oklahoma should be the number 1 pick of the NFL draft, which he was. Kyler Murray's got the Cardinals contending into the playoffs. Number 3, listen, Andy Dalton's not the only balling redhead in the NFL right now. Sam Darnold, he's a little bit of a ginger to him. Don't play man coverage versus him. If you play man coverage versus Sam Darnold, he's going to score 30-plus on you. His connection, Justin Jefferson, he's doing it without Addison. He's doing it without Hawkinson. Kevin O'Connell, arguably coach of the year right now with Matt LaFleur, making things super good for Sam Darnold. Number 2, that bad man, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers back to being a dude in the NFL. Some of the throws that Aaron has made this year, you guys see some of the balls like Allen Lazard. Everyone said Allen Lazard sucks. Now Allen Lazard is really good. Guess what the common denominator is? Aaron Rodgers. That ball should be a pick 6 by Gonzalez. It's not because Rodgers threw it. Second best quarterback in football right now. And the number 1 quarterback, I'm going to look directly at you two because you guys have had said some things about this guy. that we've disagreed with, we've argued with, argued with.
The part of the wild Josh Allen ride.
Josh Allen is the best quarterback in football right now.
Come on.
He is an absolute wagon. Distributing the football, probably the best offensive line in football right now.
What's a wagon?
What's a wagon? I actually love the fact that he used that he's a wagon.
I know.
I love that.
Absolute wagon.
So let's go through the list again. Geno Smith at 5, Kyler at 4, Sam Darnold at 3, Aaron Rodgers at 2, and Josh Allen at number 1. I'll be honest, Josh Allen at number 1, I think it's fair to say.
No argument there.
He's playing really well through the first 3 weeks of the season. Let's talk about the rest of the list here. First off, Kyler Murray they're not 2-1, they're 1-2. They lost games. They lost to the Bills. Tough game. And then they lost to the Lions. So they've lost to 2 playoff caliber teams. Fair enough. Geno, I love Geno. It's just hard for me to say that I'm going to put him in the top 5. And I'm not trying to be a homer here or bias, but what did Lamar Jackson do to not be in?
Yeah.
His defense gave up points. That's how Lamar Jackson didn't get in this list, because his defense let him down. Because Isaiah Likely's foot was a half inch too big is the reason why Lamar Jackson's on this list.
So, and again, I'm just genuinely curious right now. Lamar Jackson through the first 3 weeks of the season, 65% completion percentage. He's averaging just under 8 yards a throw. Has 702 passing yards. Only had to throw 15 times the last game against the Cowboys. But then he's got 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And that's just with him passing the football. Rushing wise, he's already got 254 rushing yards.
You can make the argument that 1 interception was also not his fault.
So, and again, that's a part of it. So I don't blame that for Geno, but
come on.
You know, I'm happy who's on the list. I'm happy Sam Darnold's on the list. That guy deserves it.
He deserves that.
Deserves it.
He deserves to be number 3.
And I don't want to say that none of them deserve to be on it, because that's not being fair. I just want to have the point of, why is it always, if we're talking about quarterbacks, why are we throwing off
the MVP?
in top 5 right now? Because we're looking at it. Yeah, it's a team sport, but what did Lamar Jackson specifically do in these last games that he should have done better? Dallas, what did you want him to do better?
Yeah.
He closed out the game too, by the way. He did a great job there. The Chiefs game, with all the issues on the offensive line, he was trying to help will that team back, and it's a team game. Yeah, could he had a missed throw to Likely? All right, there's a lot of missed throws throughout the NFL. Aaron Rodgers and the 49ers went out there. The Jets played the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers, they got smacked.
Yeah, he got his ass kicked.
And it wasn't all Aaron Rodgers' fault, right?
Right.
So I just think in that list, good for Kyler. I'm happy for him. I'm already bitter about not having Lamar Jackson on the list. I'll just be transparent.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's a dog, man. Sam Darnold, by the way, what's the best thing for anyone when it comes to football for your career?
Leaving the Panthers. And it didn't help that he was also, before that, was on the Jets. We talk about some, people, the grind.
Did you see Belichick on Pat McAfee? It was like everybody loves Sam Darnold except for the Jets.
Yeah, he was like, everyone likes what Sam Darnold did except the Jets. He's like, I don't understand. It's like, I've always liked Sam Darnold. He's like, every team likes Sam Darnold except the Jets, apparently. Because you can toss the Panthers onto that too now. They didn't know what to do.
Well, it's just kind of wild to me when we look at it that way. And I look, it's early, right? It's very early. I
don't have any problem with Pat Mahomes not being on that top 5 list. He hasn't been playing well.
And he's even said it too.
Yeah.
He's even blatantly said it, because I have not played very well. We found ways to win, but I haven't played well. For Lamar Jackson, I can't sit there and go, hey, Lamar, could you have played better? Sure, but Lamar, you've also played pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say.
Hey, Lamar, I know you've had to go Superman a few times to try to win ball games, but could you do a little bit more?
Yeah.
But obviously, especially after Josh Allen's last performance, man, you can't argue any of that.
No.
That dude, he
playing
is
out of his mind.
He is a wagon, and you know what? When the Bills aren't playing the Ravens, man, I want good things for Buffalo. I do. I like what they're doing. I think Josh Allen's a phenomenal player, and let James cook, but don't let them cook this weekend against the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Yeah.
As I think I know one player for sure that doesn't want to see that happen. It might be our next guest, friend of the show, friend of the program,
friend of Cole Irvin,
of Cole Irvin. But if we're doing a power rankings of golfer, he ranks lower on the power rankings for golf attire and golf game. Our friend Nick Moore. There he is.
Hold on a second. Why do I rank lower?
Oh, well.
Ask Cole Irvin.
Yeah, we're just the
pretty
messenger.
sure I beat Cole Irving.
Ooh,
well, yeah, I
in the long drive and in the 2v2 at the Battle of the Birds this year.
Well, you know what? This is paraphrasing.
I'm just saying, I got a nice plaque and autograph and signed. I'm just saying, I got trophies. Cole, if you're out there and you're listening.
Oh, he's watching. He said he was going.
You know I'm better than you. He's a really good golfer. So we had some fun. I will say I had a pretty decent day that day. So both of our partners were super great. So we were carrying the team, and my team, I ended up carrying a little bit harder, and we won.
Oh, how was that? Modest Nick Moore back at it. He actually, the first comment he gave you wasn't even about your golf game. That was a secondary comment, but still made that point. He said, your golf fashion statement, man. If I had to put it in my fashion app, I think it was like a D-. So like, I think you got to change.
D-? What are you
Well, he didn't say D-. I said that, but Cole did say that your golf attire needs improvement.
What?
Yeah. He was very adamant about it.
How? Where? What do I need to do better?
We'll have to get you both on the show at the same time, and we can have the discussion.
Air grievances.
I think when I saw him, we had the same shirt. Mine was purple, his was orange. I was probably wearing some nice fresh Jordans.
Khakis.
And I think I remember I had black pants on. Oh no, you know what happened? I wore blue pants because I had an outfit, and then they gave us a purple shirt, and it threw it off. So I'll give it.
There we go.
There it is.
I respect the play. It's a good call from him.
Typical Nick Moore blaming somebody else. Just kidding. You know, Nick Moore's very accountable on the football field. Very accountable when it comes to golf and golf attire. Well, let's just say, Nick, you know.
Listen here, dude. Listen here. I'm by far the best golfer on this chat right now. So I don't want to hear it. I mean, it's not even close, dude.
Oh, good. You're a good kid, man. I don't care what John Harbaugh says about you. You're a good kid.
He says good things for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. Hey, so got the win. That was cool. Big win. Got a little scared. I'll be honest. I had my feet up, Nick.
We both were like,
I had the
watching
feet
the
up.
game together. We're like, oh,
I'm
God.
like, this is nice. And then Nick holds a dude, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I knew this was coming. So bring it on.
All right, let's get the rebuttal. Where was the hold?
Listen. If you guys watched any football this weekend, you would say that I was the only penalty called. And out of the ones that should have been called, there was like 5 where long snappers just tackled their guy because they got absolutely cooked. They didn't get called. I don't want to speak on anybody, but there has been plays in the league at my position that have been egregious. Now, was mine a holding? By definition, sure, it was a holding call. Okay. However, was it worthy of being called? I don't know. I don't. He obviously called it. He felt like it was worthy, but I just disagree. So.
Like Nick has gone from it wasn't a hold to I'm just going to disagree with the draft. I like it. Just completely
screw that. Terrible call.
I just think I should have been in a better position. So it's definitely my fault for even being put in that spot.
Accountability.
But you know, that guy that they had rush me was a big guy, big, fast, strong defensive end. So he got on my edge, and I felt like I was moving him, and then
hugged him.
He may or may not have stepped on another guy and started falling, and we both fell together. And from the ref's point of view, I get it. It looks like a tackle, but it wasn't.
Hey, what's that gif? I'm gonna make a video of this, but what's that gif of? Is it the dog that has like the side eye?
Yeah, it's
This conversation is strictly for the people in the chat that's watching us live right now because I could get in trouble. So.
You're a good kid.
The ref made the right call. It was
he did make the right call. You're darn right about it.
Yeah.
You're darn right about it. I'm glad
we got it fixed. They tried to run the same exact rush on the repunt, and we handled it.
There you go.
Yeah, you were trying to help him. He was falling. You didn't want him to fall.
Yeah,
exactly.
On his own.
Good guy, Nick Moore.
Good guy.
Actually,
Nick Moore.
you know what really happens? My buddy Charlie Kolar got the tackle on that play, and I was like, I will not stand for that. He can't have the tackle, so I got the penalty to repunt. Tackle doesn't count.
Yeah, that's very kind of you. And I mean,
nobody got the tackle on the fair catch, so that's what I was going for.
Yeah, because that's what we want. No return.
You know, we got super lucky on that play because the second punt, Jordan punted and it hit the jumbotron, like it hit the scoreboard. So it was like going down the right and it ricochets and goes into the middle of the field. That should have been a repunt. They should have made us punt another one. And I was like, we were all like, oh my God, please don't say it. Please don't do it. Please don't. Nobody wants to do 3 punts in a row. And luckily they didn't.
Wait, so that was after the penalty?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got the penalty. We repunted. His next punt, it hit the scoreboard and it ricocheted and went to the middle of the field. And they should have made him repunt, but luckily they didn't.
That's wild.
I always forget that Dallas, for some reason, has a scoreboard that impacts the game.
Yeah,
it's only 95 feet in the air, and like we were hitting balls in warmups, and I was like talking with Sam Cook. I was like, "Can we hit that?" He was like, "Dude, it's only 95 feet up." Like, yeah, of course we can hit it. And the very next punt, both Jordan and Anger, they both hit it on the very next punt. They're both. I was like, that's just odd to me that they have that.
Yeah,
that's in the field of play.
And it's been there since what, 2009?
I don't know when they built it, but it's been there for a while.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. I mean, it definitely is an interesting thing. I was very surprised by that because they always brag about that, how big it is and stuff, and like it's humongous, but it's
Texas.
It's like
Jerry World.
It's in the way, like kind of in the way.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's very big. Everything's bigger down there. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, hey, glad. I guess the W's are bigger down there too. I don't know, but it was a needed win. It's a needed win. Yeah. Don't care how it happened or how it finished. You got the win. You're 1-2 coming back to play Buffalo, and they're red hot, by the way. I don't know if you heard that list. Dan Orlovsky's got Buffalo or Josh Allen number 1. I mean, the dude's a stud. Dude's a really good player, right? There's no knocking that. But it just seems like you guys starting to collect some things, put some things together, and it's going to be a great test. And we get to see slim fit Nick Moore in the All Blacks.
Yeah.
All Black unis on Sunday night. How are we feeling going into this one?
Feeling pretty good. I shout out to the EQ staff for picking the All Black for this game, or whoever decides that, because I lose about 20 pounds when I put the All Black on. So I like it. But no, Josh Allen's been balling, dude. I mean, they went 5 for 5 in the first half last week with touchdowns. Like, that was one of the most impressive first halves I've watched. And that was all I watched because it was a slaughter at halftime. But they looked really, really good. And, I feel like we're just coming into our own. This is going to be a huge game. I mean, both teams are powerhouses, I think, in the AFC. And, obviously this is a big test for us. We're going to have a big test this weekend, and I think it's going to be good for all of us. I think, building on what we did last week, we ran the ball really well. We have 274 yards rushing, I think. And it was awesome to watch Derrick Henry just throw guys off with one hand like it was nothing. So I'm excited to watch that again. And I think this is going to be, I don't want to say it's a pivotal moment, but it's a big game. I mean, every game in the NFL is a big game. And, Sunday night, the whole nation's watching. We need this win. And I think we got to play great football, play Ravens football. And I think we're going to put ourselves in a position to get that win.
Yeah, I think you guys will too, right? And this is the fun part now. You get that win, the first one under your belt. You got a great team coming in, so there's going to be no problem. And I know it's, as competitors, you got to take every opponent the same way and just say, hey, we got to go out there and kick their ass. But it does help when a team that's undefeated and playing really well and it's in prime time, it gets the people going. It's going to be, the adrenaline's going to be pumping from the start. One thing I think, Nick, that continues to be brought up here, and I hate it for him because you spend he's one of the 2 other guys you spend time with, is with Justin Tucker with Tuck. And I saw him talk about, I think his comments, I don't know if you saw the comments, but we wanted You did see it? We just wanted
I
to
saw
play it.
the. Yeah, go ahead. Play it.
We're just going to play the video for people that hadn't seen it just to give context because he was talking about on some of his misses what he thinks he specifically needs to focus on.
I have let 3 kicks get away from me early this season. But today we had another really good day at practice. We plan on having another one tomorrow and on Friday, and then coming into Sunday Night Football ready to roll like we always do. I'm confident in what Nick has been doing and what Jordan has been doing from a snapping and a holding perspective. And then the guys blocking up front, they have all been consistent. Anytime our defense gets a stop, our offense moves the ball down the field, it's my job to reward the rest of the team and their hard work with points on the board. And something I take a lot of pride in, and something that I will continue to be working at. So I'll leave it at that.
So those are the comments there, and it's really just because for the third straight game, Tuck missed a kick. But Nick, you even alluded to it before. It's not that Tuck's not. Yeah, he's striking it really well,
hammering that.
He's hammering. It's not a leg power thing, and that's what you talked about. And the first 2 misses he had in the year were close, right? They just kind of waved that way. The one against Dallas was probably the furthest one.
But it was straight up until halfway through, and it took a wicked turn.
And people, and Q was talking about, like, Tuck's ball, I mean, you see it more than anyone, Nick, but, like, his ball typically when things are going perfect, that thing just doesn't move. It just seems like it just stays straight all the way through. I mean, and you don't have, if you don't know specifically, but like what technique stuff does it have to go through? Is that a mindset? Is it falling off?
Yeah, because I was going to say, so he had mentioned that it was like something that was technical, but didn't really elaborate. And you can or cannot. It's up to you. I didn't know exactly what that meant as far as like a technical issue. It was, I think, the term.
I can't speak to Justin's technique. To me, it looks really good. It looks like he's hitting the ball like he always has.
Yeah.
Some of them took a slight left turn. I mean, it could be, timing messed up with me, getting the snap not there on time or whatever that, maybe throws him off. I mean, we're always looking for ways to get better as a unit and shore up things. And it starts with me on the snap. I've always said that. And so I'm definitely trying to do everything I can to make Jordan's job extremely easy, and also give Justin the confidence that no matter what happens, it's going to be there. And like he said, I mean, he's still we got a good day of work yesterday. We did field goal and all that stuff yesterday, and then we had another good day of work today, working on a couple of technical things with me and Jordan, and we'll come back out tomorrow, have our Fast Friday, and it'll be another good day there. And we'll be ready to rock and roll Sunday night. And I think, Justin is Justin. I'll say it till the cows come home. He's the best kicker of all time. And, he's going to get it figured out. And we're going to get it figured out as a group. And, like you said, our job is to put points on the board. Anytime we go out on the field for field goal, it's a huge play in the game because you put points on the board. And in the NFL, every point matters, as we're seeing all these games coming down to field goals, especially late in the season and the playoffs. So, it's our job to do that and give the team the confidence that if we have a good drive that maybe gets stalled out, that we're gonna get 3 points out of it no matter what. So that's our job, and we're gonna do a better job of that coming up.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still think it's the more of the national attention because everyone's expecting Justin to be perfect. And by the way, like even in his best years, I was going back and looking at it. He's still in his best year for you since 2021 was your first year, right, Nick?
Yeah.
It's 35 or 37, right?
Yeah,
that. And then he's had the other years, but, still like you said, it's statistically still one of the best guys. Dude, how about I meant to mention this, and I'm not worried about Tucker long-term.
No.
The technical stuff you're saying, if it's a mindset, if it's just falling off, if there's one guy that you'd have confidence with getting back on the horse, I believe that's going to happen. It's Justin Tucker, right? Just throwing that out there. But, dude, how about Brandon Aubrey with the Cowboys, with them going, hey, dude, go kick a 65-yarder in like the first or second quarter?
That could have been a 75-yarder.
Holy hell, dude.
Yeah.
That dude is good.
That guy's got a powerful leg. He's a former professional soccer player.
Yeah.
So he's obviously really good at kicking balls.
Yes, very good at kicking balls.
Yeah,
Nick.
pause. And he's got the most like relaxed approach. He just like stands back there. He kind of like prances and then just woof, like explodes through the ball. And that 65-yarder was extremely impressive. The long snapper for them is one of my good buddies. He actually got his start here in Baltimore in 2018. Came through here as a rookie, and Trent Sieg, and I went up to him at halftime, and I was just joking with him. I was like, "Hey, how does it feel to have the second longest field goal in NFL history?" And it's all fun and games. He hammered that ball, and he's made a 66-yarder just the week before or 2 weeks, like maybe week one. I got called back as a delay of game, so he definitely has one of the strongest legs I've seen. And he's hot right now. He's been hot since he got in the league last year. And, I don't think anybody's made more kicks beyond 50. You have to fact check me on that. But I think he's, over the last 2 seasons, I feel like he's got to be up there in most kicks beyond 50 yards. So.
Oh, he's hot. He hasn't missed a kick over 50 in his career.
Yeah.
It's 15 for 15.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a really talented player.
Playing soccer before being a kicker should be illegal.
I think he's like 30 years old, I think.
Yeah, he's 29. We looked it up.
Yeah, and he's in his second year, I think, right?
Yeah, because he played, he graduated from Notre Dame. He played soccer at Notre Dame until 2016.
And he was a pro.
Yeah, they went pro for a while.
Yeah.
Is that the year Notre Dame beat Georgia too?
Oh no. Hey, listen, Notre Dame is 0-3 against the Bulldogs all time, baby. Don't ever tempt me like that. Don't ever tempt me.
It's a click. It's instant. He hears Georgia and he's like, whoa.
I know there's a lot of Fighting Irish fans out there, but the Dogs got their number. All right, that's all that matters.
Hey, what about speaking of the Dogs, man? They got a big one on Saturday.
Huge game this weekend, boys. Huge.
Bama.
We're all tuning in. 7:30 ABC, ESPN. I don't know what channel it is. Hey, listen.
I think is Georgia favored in this game?
Yeah. Alabama's first time being an underdog at home since before Nick Saban.
So I think Nick, like when he's done with football, he's just going to be a Georgia football analyst about.
No, there's too many of those guys, man. Look, I just love the Dogs. Okay, the last time they lost in the regular season, actually, I think it's the last time they lost in the regular season was at Alabama, 2020. They've won 42 in a row. I'm pretty sure their last regular season loss was at Alabama. Fact check me on that, but I think that's right.
This is gonna be a good one.
I can't wait. I might have to take Bama just for the betting situation, or just like a friendly back and forth with Nick Moore. If he's rooting for Georgia, then should I root for a buddy or should I root against?
Oh, that's
a good question.
When Georgia wins, you'll see Derrick Henry in some Georgia T-shirts.
Hey, Cole and Adley had a friendly little rivalry with Oregon State. Oregon State got taken behind the woodshed by.
Yeah, that was tough.
That was tough. And Cole was like, "That was the easiest bet I've ever made."
Yeah, easiest $100.
Yeah, so it was cool to kind of see with them. But yeah, for Derrick Henry, man, I kind of want to see what that would look like.
Is that like a legit bet that's going on right now?
George, you got to work.
We'll see. May or may not.
George Kittle had to wear the Iowa State helmet
which did not fit his head
at all.
That was the best part. Was it was so small. He's like, I didn't realize Brock had a kid's helmet.
I would love to see though if this does happen one way or another. I'd want to see Nick have to wear Derrick Henry's Bama stuff, or then Derrick Henry wears Nick's Georgia stuff. Is that like? Can I
his would look like a dress on me, and mine would look like a wife beater T-shirt or something, like one of those spaghetti strap. I'll be a long sleeve shirt. It'll be like a spaghetti strap on him up here.
You're a good kid, Nick. I don't care what they say about you. Anything else before we let Nick go?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Just
Nick did the last thing. Obviously, we're just kidding. Your golf game's okay. Did you play well this week?
Yeah, I shot 80.
Ooh.
I was on track to shoot 78, and it started raining, got the best of me, and I shanked my drive on 17 and had to take a drop. And
listen, when I saw 80, I thought he was full of it.
Yeah.
No, I was dialed, bro. I chipped in for birdie on number 3, and I was like, I was even like going into 8. I was like, I'm about to go low. And then I had two out of bounds off the tee. That really cost me.
I shot my first eagle a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, an eagle.
Yeah, like legit.
You didn't mention that.
Well, I mean, I don't think you guys.
You're humble.
Yeah.
You're humble.
There were witnesses. I shot a real eagle. Yeah. First one. I got a tournament on Monday, so we'll see how that goes.
Hell yeah.
Good luck, my
Nick,
friend.
good luck on Sunday, my man. Stay
Thanks,
safe
boys.
out there, and we'll be rooting you on for sure.
Oh yeah.
Hey, be good. Have fun out there. Okay?
Always. You know me.
Go Tide. We'll be
Hey,
roll
go
Tide,
Dogs,
baby.
Good old.
Dogs.
All right, Nick, be good. See ya, Nick Moore. He's a good kid. I swear, it's some other gear when you talk about Georgia. It just pops in.
His face changes completely. Like he goes
It's
from
like,
a very relaxed to, especially when you accuse, we'll like make up fake stats, obviously. Like when you're like, oh, that's that year they lost to Notre Dame. And he knows. He's like, no, we're 3-0 against Fighting Irish all time. He's like, that didn't happen. Like he just, when you called him a Florida fan last time, he came in hot. You bring up SEC football to Nick Moore.
I kind of like to get Nick going.
That is funny.
I like getting Nick going. How about this starting it off with Cole? What did he say about my golf game? But that's a big one. And you know what I love with Nick, though? He resembles and embodies that the Ravens are confident, right?
He's such a good dude.
He's a great guy, awesome guy. And that's why we can bust his balls on this, you know? What I love too with all the stuff that even when you hear him talk about with Justin Tucker and things going on, he won't be as humble with his golf game, but as far as his work on the football field, he takes pride in trying to be the best that he can. And even if seeing one of his other former teammates, going through a little bit of a rough patch for himself, he's like, how can I make it better? And that's truly how Nick is. He wants to try to do his part so well that it can help people out. And we all believe Tuck's going to get back going. And hopefully, I'm hoping, though, the Ravens win by a couple scores here. But recency has shown us that hasn't been the case. But we can all dream. I think it's going to be a great game. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We're getting close to wrapping up. We're going to hit a couple news and notes. And we hope you guys enjoyed the interviews today. Laura, glad you enjoyed, man. Great interviews today. Ryan knows how to bring the heat. We got a lot of heat in here. It's getting hot in here. Literally, it's getting hot in here. But we got a lot of great things lined up here for the postseason as well, for baseball, for football season as we go. And just when I can get Brad a new toy here to help us make this production even better.
Oh, yeah. I cannot wait for that.
Oh, my goodness. And if you guys are not members of the Ryan Ripken Media channel, you can hit that subscribe button. All of it goes back into making this studio what it is for us. So we appreciate each and every one of you. And make sure on Sunday you're tuning in for a chance for the Gridiron Golf Special. You guys saw Kevin miss an opportunity, Brad, if we can share the other camera for a minute.
Yeah.
We got the Gridiron Golf there, and maybe that might go mobile for this weekend here. So, and have a chance for everyone to experience it and have a chance to win big. So, make sure you tune in for that. We'll have our Deep Eddy crushes flowing. I think Lemon Stick is the choice for this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Lemon Stick.
Oh, shit.
Lemon Stick, baby.
Maryland staple.
We are pumped about that. So make sure you stay tuned. And as always, we got some more giveaways with Stuggies. Our dog of the week earlier was Ty Felton. But fellas, couple news and notes around the NFL that I want to talk about real quickly. How about that Andy Dalton can do the funniest thing when it comes to facing the Cincinnati Bengals?
Do it. How funny would it be? How funny would that be?
Carolina Panthers, they could really put the nail in the coffin.
Listen, I got some bold predictions for Andy Dalton on Sunday. I actually was going to take so our dogs of the week. I was going to take the Giants tonight, but obviously we don't do it till Sunday. But I actually would have taken the Giants this week.
The G-men,
yeah,
G-men are playing some decent ball,
and the Cowboys are not.
Yeah,
they are not. And certainly against the run, but I feel like something's got to give, right? But
Devin Singletary yards.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
So there's that. Obviously, though, Andy Dalton, it's been great to see what he did last week. I still hate it for Bryce Young with everything, but Carolina Panthers, if he plays like he did last week, and since his defense was what it was against the Commanders, they could be in trouble. And speaking of the Commanders, man, Jaden Daniels.
God.
Jaden Daniels is fun.
I was thinking about
He's
this.
Incredible.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like what he reminds me. He reminds me of Lamar Jackson his rookie year. Like he could legitimately be like a Lamar Jackson 2.0 type of player. And he's got, look, Lamar Jackson can sling it, but like as far as having the ability to throw this early compared to like a Lamar Jackson, it's leaps and bounds better at this stage of his career.
Oh, he's
so like
and for sure.
His ability to move. I mean, Jaden Daniels has the potential to be an absolute star in this league if he continues if he plays anywhere close to what he played like on Sunday night.
Yeah, the one thing with the Lamar thing where I do know people are saying like, oh, when they're rookie years, Jaden Daniels such a better thrower than Lamar was his rookie year. Yeah, Lamar also won a unanimous MVP at 22, and Jaden Daniels is 23. So so I've seen people on the internet be like, "Oh, Jaden Daniels proving he's already going to be way better than Lamar because look at their rookie years." A little different. Lamar was thrust in.
We're 3 starts in, which is why I prefaced it with like, if he continues this.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. But like,
he's looked incredible.
Yeah,
well, he had a 91% completion percentage against the Cincinnati Bengals on the road, a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. They need a win going against Joe Burrow and that offense, which, hey, you can hate on the Cincinnati Bengals. Like playing against Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and those are guys also, the other part here, that's what Jaden Daniels had to hear all the time at LSU was how great Joe Burrow was.
Well, speaking of Joe Burrow, I mean, that guy's kind of playing like a shell of himself. First time
week he was great.
Yeah, but it's first time we've seen a quarterback come back from a wrist injury like this. That's what I was told. Still just not. I don't know if it's just he has to shake some rust off or what, but definitely not the Joe Burrow we're used to seeing.
Yeah, he definitely. I mean, I think he had an incredible game on Monday, but there were definitely some throws. I know he dirted one to Jamar Chase that would have been a first down in the red zone. There were definitely some misses that you don't normally see from Burrow.
Bengals defense also is atrocious.
Oh, Bengals defense is atrocious. But here's the biggest thing is why I just can't give up on this Bengals team is I feel like this is just clockwork. Every year, it's the Bengals are 1-2. The Bengals are 0-2 to start the year. Like whatever the narrative is, it's Bengals, man, they can't. It's the year. They're just nothing's going right. And then they go on this weird, like very low key.
0-3.
Yeah. So now they're 0-3, but I would not be shocked if we look up and that's a team that's sitting there at 8-5, 8-4.
And Baltimore sees them a week from Sunday. So keep that in mind. You never know. Joe Burrow, those last game, he trended in the right direction. But the bigger issue then for me with that Cincy team is that defense. If that defense plays like they did, they're not going to have a chance.
Bad.
And that's going to be the hard part for them. But for your Commanders fan on the flip side, man.
That touchdown pass to Scary Terry was just, I mean, that was a big boy throw.
Was without a doubt the best pass ever that Terry McLaurin has had thrown to him.
Well, so real quickly, because I think we might not have time for the Travis Kelce part here. Can you play Chuck Pagano talking about that real quickly about Jaden Daniels?
Yeah.
No, though. Like that's not the conversation. The conversation is these offenses stink.
Yeah.
These offenses are bad. Football is bad right now. People aren't playing preseason football, so the timing's off. Quarterbacks are off. Wide receivers holding out. They don't know their plays. They don't know their feel. They're not ready until like week 5.
Combination of all of it, right?
That's what all the shit's being said.
New coaches, new coordinators, new players, young quarterbacks trying to figure all this stuff.
Speaking of, let's get to one. Jaden Daniels, rookie for the Washington Commanders.
Dog.
We talk about figure it out here.
So the situation, fourth quarter, 2:15 left in the game, 3rd and 7, right? This is a gotta-have-it play for Lou Anarumo and the Cincinnati defense, right? If they get a stop here, they're going to keep this at a one-score game and have a chance to go down and tie or win this thing. I'm not sure of the score, but I think it's a one-score game right now. Yeah, to win. They got to have
5.
a stop. They got to have a stop. So how many did they have up?
8.
They had 8 up. So if you take it back, if you take it,
I'm sorry, I just want to watch the ball.
What a dime.
I just want to watch.
Throw.
Engage 8.
The height on that, that's a Russell Wilson one that you're talking about.
When you look at it,
okay,
right? When you look at it, stop it right there. Okay, thank you, Pat.
No problem.
How many they got in protection on offense?
3. Oh, sorry.
So they got the tight end hanging on the left. They got the back on the right and 5 linemen. So they've got 7-man protection, right? Yeah. They've got 8 up. So if they decide, Lou and them decide to bring all 8, who's got that 8th rusher?
Quarterback.
Rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's got it figured out. You heard him in his post-game press conference, right, talking about, hey, I knew I was going to get hit. So he knew, and they've got the pressure rusher, that guy that's got the tight end, he's blitzing automatically. And what you do when this happens is you block from inside out. So if you're going to let a guy go free, you're not going to let a linebacker or somebody come up the A gap untouched, right? Because he's going to be in the quarterback's face right now, and you're not going to get the ball off. So you're going to get either the left edge or the right edge rusher. You're going to let him go free.
It was a great pickup
to buy yourself time.
Did you see the pickup by the back?
Oh yeah, we got the
This is
back end. Wait
incredible.
till you see that.
Jesus. Incredible by that kid.
What a ball.
Number 26.
Unreal.
I forget his name. Somebody told me his name earlier. Oh, you know what he is? That's a Boise State Bronco.
That's
McNichols.
McNichols.
Hell yeah.
From where?
Boise State.
Well, the home Genty right now.
Yeah.
Hey, they got a running back room.
Ashton Genty. Have you watched him?
Genty, sorry. Yeah, I've seen highlights. I haven't seen full games.
He is Genty's.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Shout out Boise State football, by the way. But the point being right there, guy coming, you know who's coming, and you also know you're about to get waxed. And Jaden Daniels makes one of the best throws, not of the game, of the year.
Yeah.
Where you knew you had to give your wide receiver a chance. You got to pinpoint it. Scary Terry had the defender hesitate just a hair, and then you lay that right in there. And the Commanders guys now, this is not a team where they had low expectations going into the season, but everyone believes, and they believe because they see what Jaden Daniels is doing.
Yeah.
Like, he is the guy. And not only that, Commanders could be a team that could win the division if he plays like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they have a chance to get the 3-1 this week, especially against the Raiders.
Yeah, and you also look at it's the NFC East. They haven't had a team win back-to-back years in like 16 years or something at this point. So what? The Cowboys won it last year, the Eagles the year before. Why can't it be the Commies, the Commanders? I mean, this is what the NFC East is. It's at the point where every year it's a different player going out there, or a different team going out there and winning the NFC East. So they get their new quarterback. They look great. I gave them a lot of shit over the offseason because I wasn't sure with what veterans they were bringing in, how it was going to work out. They've got a squad there, and they're all playing really good football for Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
And really, that's the other thing. Dan Quinn was a hire that everyone was not sure what it would be. But
Hey, I was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
You're
right. But
I did not get it at all.
No.
Well, so the one thing that is to Dan Quinn's credit is that he has a group that can believe what happens here. I think even the bigger part was that Cliff Kingsbury has been the right signing an offensive coordinator. I think above all right there for Jaden, you get a head coach that feels like he can bring together a team. All right. And it's a new face of it. And that was the question was he the right guy to help them get to the next spot? But then Cliff Kingsbury has helped Jaden Daniels get comfortable. And now Jaden Daniels looks like, hey, I'm ready to take the keys. I'm ready to take this Commanders team to a different place and go to a place that they haven't felt that they have been in years. And that is to be a contending team in the NFC East and hopefully the NFC in general. But I think that's going to do it, guys, for this show. I know we had the Kelsey thing. We just had so much. We had a lot jam-packed in here. And again, Cole Irvin, Tim Kurkjian, Nick Moore joined us. Great show, guys. Really proud of you. And Brad, thank you behind the scenes for everything going on.
You got it.
Zach,
showing up.
Well, no, you do. You do more than show up. But in that moment, I was paused. But let's cue the music. As always, here at the Ryan Ripken Show, we appreciate you guys tuning in. And have a day, have a night. Go Ravens this Sunday. Hopefully the O's sweep the New York Yankees, but we'll be back on Sunday for our pregame show. Stay tuned. Like and subscribe on the way out.
Go O's.
Bow, bow.